Welcome back to the OTB podcast, the original and still the best New Zealand mountain bike podcast. We've made it through to the end of the year and happy to say, or maybe sad to say, this will be the final episode of 2024 as we roll on into the Christmas break. And, we all just take a well-deserved break from this heavy podcast schedule we've got going on here. But I'm your host, Kieran Bennett. With me, as always, the usuals. Red Dog, what is your favourite Maxxis tyre of all time?
Of all time, I'm going to say the Medusa. Do you remember the Medusa?
Oh, yeah. It was like a spiky XC tyre, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. It's because...
I actually think I've got a pair of those in my shed.
Yeah.
I had some. I don't know if I've still got them, but I'll check.
They were an aggressive XC tyre, and I remember riding with Horse, and he had them on one of his Rockies, maybe. And
excellent.
He loved how they gripped on the grass, and we were coming out the end of Barnvale, and he went to rip a turn on this grass in the front. He just washed super hard and he ate shit onto the road. Not a great endorsement for the Medusa, but yeah.
I don't think the Medusa exists anymore. Chris, favourite all-time Maxxis tyre?
Lopes Bling Bling, hands down.
Another strong
pull. It's a strong pull.
And you know what? Here's a go into the archives. If I recall correctly, Lester, you had a red Kiwi Progressor and you had a Lopes Bling Bling on the rear.
I did. I think I even ran front and rear for a while. Yeah, definitely.
How do I know that?
Went
That's
through a few
weird.
Of those. They were a
disgusting,
very slow rolling tyre, but fortunately Maxxis redeemed themselves after that.
For a four-cross tyre
that was slow rolling?
Yeah,
perfect.
I like how so far we've really just dug into the archive of discontinued tyres, but Lester, maybe you can pull one out for us.
This isn't going how we thought it.
Lester, you're a bit quiet as well. The listeners won't be able to hear you.
That's all right. We can bump them up. We can do it in post.
I hate to admit it. I'm also going to throw back into the archives of tyres that don't exist anymore and go the Larson TT.
Strong.
That's
a great tyre.
Did they not do that anymore? That was a great tyre.
Yeah, it was a great tyre. It rolled fast, gripped pretty good. That was like my go-to dirt jump tyre for a while. Often in combination with a Maxxis Bling Bling, depending what we were doing. Also on a Kiwi, but it would have been on a black one, that one.
To continue the theme, I'm going to go with the Swamp Thing.
Yes. Great tyre.
No,
Swamp Thing's just a shorty now, right?
It sucked.
The Swamp Thing was not a good tyre. It's probably one of the best ones.
So round.
But hey,
I've
got one more to throw in the mix.
That went completely the wrong way, but we love Maxxis.
I didn't realize the requirements were still being made. Because I had a backup in case Lester said Bling Bling, which is the Mobster. Give me a 2.7 Mobster.
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong tyre. Actually, you know what I just went back to? I've just put a DHF on the front of a bike, and I'm like, man, actually on the front of two bikes. I'm like, the DHF is still so good. The Minion DHF. Strong tyre.
Yep. I got that on the bike right now.
From the Assegai. I went back.
Yeah.
Oh, you and me both, Red Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact.
That's good, man. Doesn't roll like a tractor.
I ran that up front instead of Assegai in the Canadian wilds, and it was mint.
Mm-hmm.
Did you stop running the Assegai when Manar announced his retirement?
I've actually, I've hung up the Assegai for good now with Manar, and with Manar's jersey that I've got up there behind me. We've hung it all up together. So actually, I think if you go back in the archives, there might have been a point where I said that I would retire when Manar did. So maybe I have to give up racing now. Not sure.
Retire from what?
I don't know. Yeah, hopefully the listeners would hope so.
Early retirement.
We punched out. This is our 14th episode this year. That's not bad going.
That's all right.
That's pretty good.
That's real good going.
14 of these ones. If you had to throw a guess at the most listened episode from like everything from 2024 and the hot seats and that as well, have you got any ideas of what it could be? There's been some big names this year. Sam Hill, Craig Manar.
It's got to be the Manar episode, right?
You'll be surprised. It was actually
the
episode. It was the episode when Win Masters joined us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
When was the top episode of 2024? Kudos to Win on that.
I don't know if we can take much credit for the numbers on that one though. Like
we can't.
Easy on Chris. Sure, we can.
Huge base.
Well, we bring zero credibility, and he brought all the credibility to that episode. So that was a good one. Listeners went up by 55% this year, so that was pretty good. And Followers went up by 91%, almost doubled the followers in the last 12 months, which is good. So it's been a solid year. Thanks to all you listeners out there for tuning in and being fans of this shitty podcast. We appreciate you.
Those are good numbers in a financial crisis, KB. You just imagine what's going to happen when the economy recovers and people start spending money on podcasts again.
Mate, it'll be up. It'll be up, Miles.
Your Patreon will finally be paying off.
It might double.
You know, when you were born in a famine, KB, like you learn how to.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, I'm actually just surprised this is actually the third year, and I can't believe it's made it 3 years. It's amazing. It's
I'm stoked about being friends with you guys for 3 years now. It's exciting.
There's been multiple times where I've been ready just to hit the shutdown button and pull the pin, but
on this friend group.
Yeah, that's it.
No,
not the podcast.
About you specifically, Chris. You specifically.
He first ponded it in 2005.
Yeah, it goes back a wee way.
In the back of a shuttle truck.
Hey, I thought we'd do a few awards to start off the episode this week. I had a Rider of the Year, Kiwi Rider of the Year, Comeback Award, and I also just added in a Breakout Rider. But I think we might need to do a male and female for each one because basically when I was going through to try and pick out riders, I ended up with females for each rider. So I thought I really should bring in the underperforming male demographic into it as well and give them a shout out as well. But
we'll lead off, KB, because this sounds good.
So, I don't want to give mine away too soon, but have we got any nominations for Rider of the Year? Let's go female Rider of the Year, just overall gravity Rider of the Year. Chris, what do you reckon, mate? Start us off. Or are you nominate? Oh, I thought you were going to nominate yourself as the female Rider of the Year because you took a while to answer.
He was putting his hand up like that.
Yeah.
No comment. Yeah, Eris stands out for me. Huge year.
Strong.
Definitely Eris, and I'd go tied with slightly still gravity focused Robin Gooms.
Oh,
yeah, that's
good ball.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Not to be forgotten.
Oh, I was thinking Eris as well. That was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
Robin Gooms, absolutely agree with that. Moki, obviously Ellie as well.
This didn't have to just be Kiwis, by the way. This could just be because I was going to do a Kiwi Rider of the Year next, but also
I think you legit have to give
Eris is overall for me.
Yeah, that's a hell of a year for her.
Yeah.
I had Valley. She won.
Well, Valley, I was going to say you
world
can't look past the pretty much perfect year, can you?
No, it's pretty tough, but Eris is also just on her way to the top. It's pretty
Eris
impressive.
could also be, I was going to say breakout of the year, but she did have a pretty standout year last year. Breakout rider, rather.
Kiwi Rider of the Year. I mean, female, again, we've pretty much just covered that one. I think we're either going Eris or Robin. Oh, actually, we missed male Rider of the Year overall. I mean, I was just going to go Bruni. It's hard to not.
Bro Nation.
Niche.
Who are you emailing right now, Red?
Yeah, can you fucking stop emailing?
Actually, I think there's probably, if we're going to go kind of obscure one, well, not obscure, but slightly left of centre ones, maybe Cameron Jones. If we're going Kiwi,
yeah, that's a good.
Here, or are we back into
that's
overalls?
A big call.
I think we're still trying to get a overall Rider of the Year.
Okay, let's scratch him because he's definitely not overall. No beef though. Male overall, crikey. Yeah, I reckon Bruni.
Huron,
yeah. Those two strong performances all round.
Yeah, it's hard to.
If it was a year-end prize giving, Bruni would walk up on the stage in a real sharp suit. He'd win. No two ways about it.
Sharp dress man.
Yeah,
I think it's hard.
Snappy dresser.
Honourable mention.
Past him.
Honourable mention has to go to T-Roy though. Had a child, comes back, podium.
Yeah.
Well, that's the best comeback of the year.
Exactly. You throw that on that one. This is definitely not going as smoothly as I hoped it would. But
of course it doesn't.
When does it ever? So Kiwi male Rider of the Year. We had a nomination of Cam Jones from Leicester. Had some strong results in the US.
I think Lockie really is the gravity rider of the year.
Yeah.
there's no comparison or anyone even come close.
It's no doubts about that one.
I think any time a Kiwi male's knocking on the podium, that's a default rider of the year. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, there's never really more than one of them at a time, so we're pretty safe there. It's not like we've got much choice.
No,
but
we generally
I
don't
mean,
have them in
if we were
multiples.
talking outside of the gravity realm, Joe did win arguably the hardest race in the world, and Cam Jones did have some pretty standout Lifetime Grand Prix kind of performances and related.
Look,
XC-wise,
Sam Gaze.
Yeah, he did have
some short track
win
or two.
Success, didn't he?
If we're talking outside of the gravity realm, I think there's got to be a mention for Red Dog, who is probably like breakout XC young talent rider of the year.
Do I get the most improved?
Like YT Mob.
You realise he's in Masters though.
Yeah.
I think
closing in on Masters 2 as well.
It's not far away, is it? It's terrifying.
No, it's eerily close.
Enthusiast of the year, is that you? Is that you, Red Dog? Enthusiast of the year.
Yeah, that'd be good.
No, because Red Dog, I think it's not fair to call him a Red Dog enthusiast, because he's gone from kind of like XC is a good way to get some Ks in to 12 months later power meter, two different Garmin heart rate devices. So he's got the watch and he's got. You're onto what, your 10th computer now?
He's on the forearm strap, isn't he? On the
yeah, I'm on the strap. Right. Yeah, I'm on the strap.
And he's got a coach.
Jesus.
Yeah,
right. He's on to his second XC frame in under 12 months. What else? Like you go for casual rides in your Lycra.
I'm hassling KB for Rafa kit.
Yeah, so I think as far as
what happened,
biggest transition of the year, it goes to yeah,
Red Dog's the
breakout
transition
ride
of the year.
Breakout lifestyle change.
He gets the lifestyle award.
Yeah.
Definitely related to aging.
I would throw a nomination in there against Red Dog, and that would be Duncan Riffle transforming himself from mountain biker to gym bro on Instagram.
Is that right?
Been great. If you don't follow him, it's great.
I actually unfollowed him some time ago, so that'll be why I'm not up with the play.
Yeah, he's now a
motivational
motivational gym bro, so it's pretty good.
That's good.
How does that happen?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Comeback award. Any
nominations? This one's easy. No, you can share it. Has to be.
100%.
It has to be.
His second place Walker 50 performance.
He was robbed in 2003. 2. What year was it, KB? 2.
2002.
Yeah, I won't let it happen again.
I think comeback. I'd say an alternative to that Red Dog is the 2001 Kiwi Elite Field, because if I recall correctly, there was a race recently which had JK and Rankin both racing at the same time. Who else was there?
Kashi Lukes was on the podium too.
There you go. The 2001 Elite Field is the comeback of the year for me. It's a big year for throwbacks.
Huge.
Solid. All right, well, I was going to nominate Miriam and Amory, so I'm on a way different track to you guys.
Miriam was my pick.
That sounds more legit.
Yeah.
Those two basically missed all of 2023 and won multiple races each. So.
Yeah. Solid.
Yeah. Another mention, though, Tani. It's been a sort of a gradual comeback, but she got back to where she belongs. That's a solid comeback.
Yeah.
From what sounds like it was a pretty horrendous bloody concussion.
Tani was the other one that was like hovering right there, but I was like, Miriam, I gave it to her because she won races. So, yep.
Fair. Tani,
there you go.
Runner up.
Anyone got a breakout rider other than Red Dog's breaking out of his Lycra or breaking out of his baggies and into his Lycra?
I think Lockie. Like really finally started to put the pieces together and got healthy. And
so I went with Ronan Dunn.
You reckon?
This year?
Yeah. I mean, he had he won a World Cup last year, but then this year he was 4th overall. Like he was so consistent this year, which impressed me.
He was the only guy not to use, or one of the only to not use his protected thing.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that.
That is
it was him. Like out of anyone, you'd think he would have used it. He's loose.
He is loose. And now we wanted to give this episode to the listeners and let them be in control. So pretty much from here on out, they're in control. And I think it was actually Carson Rayner. He asked if we could shout out to him because he's actually probably still lying in hospital with a broken tip fib at the moment.
Oh, God.
But he actually requested the return of the power rankings, and I believe Chris might have done a bit of a dive into the arc. Well, I don't even know where you find this information, but I hear there is some updated power rankings for 2025.
Careful what you wish for.
There are now the team power rankings for 2025. This is sort of like a forecast. But based on what we're seeing so far, based on what we're seeing this year just gone and what we're seeing over the off-season, power rankings for 2025 go as follows. Coming into first in the power rankings, bit of a surprise actually, but actually Team Warner Brothers Disney, who have topped the power rankings, have managed to figure out a way to not have to deal with as many downhill riders, but still make more money. So that's a real positive. They're fielding a pretty interesting team, a lot of old guys. They're a pretty diverse field. They've got a pretty strong board. But yeah, so Team Warner Brothers Disney, top power rankings 2025, and the team power rankings for the Downhill World Cup. Second place, real surprise, we didn't see this one coming, but we should really have seen it coming, is McKinsey & Company, the global management consulting firm. Having taken over management responsibilities at Trek Factory, have been able to cut costs about 75% by just employing a whole bunch of children. The top 10 field from 2005 come in at third, and so that's to repeat, third place in the Team Power Rankings 2025 is the top 10 field from 2005, who are now all probably earning more as team coaches than they were in 2005 as racers. We're talking about your Burrells, your Petes, your Minars. So again, that retirement money, that team coach, that track
that is
side
strong.
money.
Yeah, that is a strong pull.
So good.
Yeah, so Burrell really set the theme there. Steve Peat, obviously, he's been able to just settle into that real cushy spot. And Greg Minnar now getting on the gravy train. God bless them all. And fourth, Canyon, who know a good thing when they see it, retained managing partner of the audit division, Troy Brosnan, and also have been able to sign young up-and-comer MVP, Matthew Van Der Poel, on about $10 squillion. So they're doing pretty well. They don't actually need any other riders outside of that. They've got stability and star power.
I think Van Der Poel's salary might be higher than the entire Canyon Gravity race budget.
Yeah, so what they're not actually telling us is how much of his salary is coming directly from McKinsey & Company and Team Warner Brothers Disney. But we'll come back to that after we put a official information request in. But in fifth, Specialized Gravity Racing, who really don't give a fuck about the off-season and are just going to keep winning next year with a small team of just men. And Pivot, who are entirely insulated from the current financial crisis because Bernie's YouTube channel just keeps on growing. And seventh on the 2025 Team Power Rankings. Real surprise here. It shouldn't be because they're showing good results, but in the power rankings for different reasons. And that's Team Atherton, who has snuck into seventh, confirmed to the 5. G is going to wrestle a shark. Just more dangerous shit that's going to put him in direct danger, risk of his life. But you've got to get those clicks. And then in eighth, to round out the 2025 power rankings, is the Monster Pro Cup in the US, who are just going to scoop up all the future downhill races and just show the world how downhill racing's done American style. We, as a podcast, are very excited to be pooling funds to send KB to the final round of the Monster Cup in 2025, just to see if he can return to his former glory. So watch the space for 2025 power rankings. There you go. Any feedback? I'd love to hear it. What are your predictions for 2025, Lester? What can you see coming down the pipe?
2025, we'll see a few bike companies continue to teeter on the edge of financial destruction. And some will pull through and others will... Well, all the big ones who are apparently in problems are probably going to be okay because, too big to fail and all that. I think, though, that there'll be some surprises in the new year to see who hasn't got a team. I think there'll be some surprises to see who has got teams. But overall, I'm looking forward to the downhill season, to be fair. I think the changes that they've made will be really good. I think this second chance qualifier thing's going to be real cool.
I think we've
no
got
protected
another...
status is going to be rad.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a good year of racing. I think we've got another transitional year in terms of the marketing around the World Cup. I think they've got to bet in the new race series itself before we see any real return on the the storytelling and all that stuff that everyone's kind of hoping for.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously they're going to try and nail that storytelling even more so than they did last year, which they didn't do a lot of last year. But yeah, I think the racing itself will be good. And I think that it's unfortunate that there's been so much negative sentiment around all the changes. Some of the changes, granted, aren't amazing. But yeah, I think that eventually once everything starts rolling, all the negativity should be gone and everyone will be just hyped on it again, hopefully.
Yeah, well, though, I reckon, yeah, fucking internet. I reckon these changes, though, I think has been getting athletes paid because their teams are on the hunt for points. I don't know if you guys discussed that.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I think on that, we didn't actually talk about that particular part, KB, but that's essentially what road cycling does. And it has, over the long term, pushed everything up way higher. So I don't see any problem with that.
There's a guy that I've heard about.
It's got to be a good thing.
I'm not going to name any names to blow anyone out, but I'd say he might bounce into the top 10 once, maybe twice in a season. He had 3 top teams after him and ended up getting paid 75 grand US. And I'm like, that's a pretty solid earning.
Pretty good.
For being like just a knocking on the top 10 kind of guy, like on a really good day. I was like, that's a strong pull.
What does his name rhyme with? What's his name rhyme with?
Schmames Schminny.
Jeez,
oh, I know that's you.
Way to blow out a guy's salary on a podcast.
Do you think that a 75k really is a decent salary though for a top 10-ish guy?
I would say it's not bad.
I think it depends on.
In the current climate, it's not. But I mean, like 75 US for a Kiwi, that's probably pretty good. But if it was 75 US for someone in the US, you're probably almost better to go and get a job.
I mean, you're probably almost better to go and get a job if your name is anything other than like Jackson Goldstone or Loic Bruni.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, fair. But
I think it depends whether you're a top 10 guy consistently or a top 10 guy once a season.
And nothing else.
And I think that's where the changes are really good, is that it's like anyone who's there in that 30 is a top 10 guy. But there'll only be a very small number of them who are like consistent top 5 people. And it's like, you look at any sport like this, I mean, F1's the same, right? So like a guy who's a back marker in F1, if he's not being paid to be there, they're not earning crazy money. They'll be earning a couple of $100,000 euros, which is a lot of money, generally speaking, but it's nothing compared to what Lewis Hamilton's earning. So there's like still this massive gap between the back of the grid and the front of the grid. And I think that's going to be the same with most sports like this, where you've got a small field of guys who on the right weekend in the right circumstances could win, but aren't likely to, but still could.
I'm real interested. Like, there's been the rumors floating around of people paying their way onto teams now with the team entries and everything going up. And yeah, I'm like, I think that, and because teams can be bigger, and I'm like, this is actually a way that teams can bring some revenue in.
100%. And that happens in so many sports.
Are we under any disillusion that, like, other than the top guys, people are doing this because they love it, right?
Yeah,
like you got a short time at the top. You want to be doing it. You're not. At the end of the day, you're probably not really driven by the money unless you're a really top guy. It's a cool lifestyle. You get to ride every day. It's fun.
You also would hope that people are getting like compensation for the effort that they're putting in and the risk that they're taking to represent those brands, because that's
It's not risk money though. It's value money. It's like, what is the value to specialized of?
Well, yes, exactly.
Anyone, right?
But they go hand in hand, don't they? So that's what I'm getting at, though. They're representing these big brands, and so other brands. Let's not take a 75k. Let's take like a 50k guy, because I bet there's heaps of them. Like a 50k guy, if he's on a pretty big team, is going to get coverage, whether he's on the podium or not.
Yeah,
and is that? Yeah, I don't know. I just find it an interesting thing when some of the big brands are probably not, like, the value they get out of it is probably well worth 50 grand when you compare to what they'll be paying any road cyclist,
But this is what we've been talking about before, is these teams, their marketing budgets, or these brands, the big brands, their marketing budgets will be enormous, and they'll spend well more than the cost of running a World Cup downhill team, salaries included. They'll spend that amount in Google AdWords, like easy. And so if Warner Brothers comes along and says, hey, we've got a whole TV network and we're going to make like a TV show about this thing, and you're going to get 150 minutes of airtime for the Trek brand, like that looks like good marketing spend, especially if it's like actual quality content. And I think that's the lens the big teams, I would think, are looking at it through. And that's why the smaller teams really struggle, because, well, they've got to pay to be there, and therefore they're going to have to find the backing that wants that exposure and that coverage.
Could you imagine how much a team like... So the rumours are Loris is going to Commensal, and by all accounts, I think that's true. So you've got Loris Verger, Emery Perrin, Miriam Nicole, I believe, they got those two young French kids, the Oren brothers. And then there's also the American that was on there. Dylan Maples.
Maples.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how much that team is putting out just in salaries? Like, it's got to be like €1 million in salary between those riders.
I think when you get two top guys like that on the team, you have the value of both of them. Like, not in terms of like their potential, but the brand value to the likes of Commensal, because they no longer have one absolute hero on the team. They've got two guys who, maybe could both win, but they would have to be getting 1 and 2 the whole season to be able to get the value out of having like top of the step guys.
Yeah, you're not necessarily getting double the coverage just because you got two guys, eh?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Interesting times.
Should we?
Please.
Yeah. Sorry that things died halfway through the power rankings. Where did we get to, KB, with that?
I think I cut out when you gave us the grand finale of 7th place. I think it was 7th place. Perfect. So, no, it was good. All right, first question I've got here from 0186. Next big thing that you think is coming in mountain biking. I don't know where it goes from here. I feel like we've plateaued. Yeah, I don't know.
OTB podcast?
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously. It's a rocket ship to the top right now.
Mainstream broadcast coverage, or mainstream like TV coverage.
You reckon?
Can you hear those crickets, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently people aren't as excited as we are.
Nah, downhill's not that interesting to the outside world. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one.
Nah, I mean, tech-wise, there's some kind of interesting stuff happening.
Wireless brakes.
It'd be interesting to... What's that?
Wireless brakes.
Wireless brakes? ABS?
Brakes. ABS is here.
I think that could be interesting to see what comes in e-bikes in the next 12 months, particularly. I mean, trail bikes and downhill bikes, maybe there'll be some cool downhill stuff. Don't know, but trail bike-wise, I don't know that we're going to see anything completely revolutionary. We might see this year the first belt drive win at a World Cup, maybe.
I think the next big thing in downhill's got to be the Monster Cup in the US.
Yep,
I hope so.
It's coming.
And the evolution of race chassis. It's here already.
100% race chassis. Yeah, more race chassis, thanks.
Andrew Baum would like to know if we had a handicap bike race for us as the OTB podcast hosts.
Sorry, are we organising it?
No, I think it's a race between us all. How far, what bikes, and who gets what handicap? I don't even know what kind of race it would be for a start. It'd have to be some sort of long... Red Dog's probably putting in for some stupid long distance race, so he can just ride
whatever it is, I'm getting a day's head start.
Because you guys are always going on about
it could be a 3-minute downhill race, but I'm getting a day's head start.
What about the all-mountain race? We'll start with that.
I think the all-mountain, the Hanma thing.
Actually, that goes into another... We throw that in with another question from a man by the name of Tim Farmer. Not sure if you're familiar with him. He said, what's happening in Hanma Springs in 2025? Now, I can only speculate.
That's a very leading question.
You tell us.
I can only speculate, but it sounds like there might be some mountain bike, good high-level organised mountain bike racing coming to Hanma Springs in 2025.
Tell you what, this podcast could see itself in the bubbly, and the hot tubs.
Oh, I could go hit the hot tubs.
Do you reckon we could live record from the hot tubs?
Oh, I would have to.
Question probably directly for Tim Farmer. Was he listening to the podcast when we were talking about the Awesome Foursome, and has he considered adding a fourth event and calling it the Awesome Foursome?
A dual slalom. I think it'd be great. We'd make it like a real mixture of an event, like a dual slalom, maybe like an off-road ultra marathon, like an off-road half, on foot, just to really mix it up.
Like running.
Because KB's going to be running next winter.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not even interested.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens in Hanmer Springs.
I want to see the return of more like mountain bike festivals. More bike festivals, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bike they were a thing for a while. They just sort of stopped happening.
Do you remember there was one, it might be when you guys might have still been at primary school potentially. But
it's a good chance.
In Hamilton?
There was one.
Was it in a like a car parking building in Hamilton, and was it mainly urban oriented?
The Cranford
that was sponsored by
Hamilton.
Urban Dirt.
Yeah, I'd never
this was in Wellington. I think it might have been around when Carapodi was on. It was like the Rock Shock Mountain Bike Festival or something or other.
Is this when Rock Shock duties were first around, like in the 1990s?
It would have been in the late 90s, I think. Yeah,
late 90s.
I did have a T-shirt one time with the logo of it on. I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, that was a festival of some sort. Rock Shocks were sponsoring it anyway.
You've been doing this for a long time, Lester. You went to a mountain bike festival in Wellington and then he's got a T-shirt.
Yeah.
It's
it would have been late 90s, I think.
Was the T-shirt like really, really fitted and kind of beige with like brown print logo on it?
No, it was actually, I mean, my memory tells me that it was like a teal colour. And it was biggish on me because I wasn't a very big dude. I don't even know how I would have got it. Actually, I might have won it as a spot prize at Carapodi, actually, now I think about it. Or maybe I brought it at Carapodi. Yeah.
That's back when Carapodi was a downhill event, eh?
They had that alongside the cross country, yeah.
It's so good.
The Eliminator. Which was very sick to watch.
I once did a downhill eliminator in the hut called the Skyline Screamer.
I think about this whenever I'm out there. That was weird.
And I believe that was it was something to do, I think it was the guy who was organising Carapodi or something at that point put it on. That was real bizarre.
Did you guys get paid?
Got flown up there. Yeah, got paid in the end. It took a long time to get our prize money, but he booked my flights. Like, he flew me up there on Sounds Air, sitting right behind the pilot in the Cessna. I don't know how they actually got my bike on there. And me and Rankin battled it out for the win in the end. It was a 4-cross. It was like 4 up, but down basically like fire break and fire roads. It was awesome.
I'm pretty sure I was there watching that, yeah. Pretty sure that's the one.
You were probably commentating at least.
Yeah.
It was 2010.
You were there as a representative for Havoc Streetwear. Were you there as part of the FMX show that they did at halftime?
Nah.
There's some stories about those.
I feel like the guy's name was Jacques or something like that organised it.
That sounds like a shark.
No, the one I'm thinking of.
The shark.
I might have been at that one too. Can't remember. Anyway. Yes, those old races.
Michael Jacques.
Michael Jacques, yeah.
Those old races were sick though, like the festival vibe. Anything where you can stay there. Actually, the 440 Enduro was a little bit like that. Like, you can stay out there, 2 days of riding. It's always a good time.
Was that a plug?
It's not a plug, because I was just going to say I haven't been for like the last 2 years anyway.
But... #spawn.
Is that the opposite of a plug? Like, you'd recommend people don't go to it? Sorry, Byron.
We're going to send Byron an invoice for it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll pay that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he will definitely not pay that.
I'm going to...
Right.
No, that money will take a while to get here.
Next question from Cowboy. Who is the current best mountain biker in the world? And he uses mountain biker in quote marks. So I guess this is just an all-round mountain bike rider. I guess it's just... And then he leads it or finishes it with Dan Booker, question mark. Dan Booker is a fantastic mountain bike rider. I'll give him that. But best all round, I don't know. I feel like if you took Jackson Goldstone, that kid could do whatever the hell he wanted. Like, he could go to Rampage if he wanted to. He will continue to win World Cups. I don't know. It's a tough one.
It is hard.
You got to wonder if, depends how you define the best.
Mm.
You know, is there one of those, is like a Chris Blevins kind of guy who could actually do real sick on a downhill as well? And could probably...
Do you reckon those guys could? I'd love to see, like, if they put their mind to it, but I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think it's more different than I think.
Where do you think
I think it would have, like, if you're talking about Goldstone, is Blevins like the XC Goldstone? And for them both to trade places,
put it this way:
could they?
If Goldstone tried to become an elite road cyclist, would he get, relatively speaking, as close to Tom Pidcock as Tom Pidcock would if he decided to become a downhill racer?
That was going to be my question. If you took it and flipped, like, who's going to do better if you went from being a elite top, like a top 10 XC racer at a top 10 down racer, and you flipped, who was going to do better after
that's what I'm talking about.
2 years of training? Yeah.
If you had a Goldstone and a Blevins, who skill-wise are not identical, but, Blevins is probably one of the more skilled XC riders, right? How many years would it take, and how quickly could they get?
I reckon with the downhill guys these days is you just can't get that speed that late in life. Like, you look at these young guys that are coming up, they've been going that fast they've been going really, really fast since they were like 13. Like, you can't go back and learn that shit as a 20-something-year-old.
Yeah.
No, I reckon the downhiller could go to the XC, but the other way around, it'd be uphill. It'd be hard.
Yeah, I reckon Goldstone could make the Olympics in the XC. Whether or not he would podium, different question, but I think he could get to the Olympics. But I don't think Pidcock could qualify for a downhill World Cup.
No.
Yeah, I probably agree. Goldstone's got the physique for it. He'd go pretty good.
Little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon Leicester is probably the most all-round bike rider I know.
Experiment.
The world's best all-rounder.
I'm definitely not.
KB's got to be up there too.
Anything. Yeah. We could be the top 4 on this call right now.
Yeah.
I think KB's the most all-round bike personality I know.
Bipolar.
But how many bike personalities do you know?
I've got lots of different personalities.
Whose fucking dryer is running right now?
Is it your dryer, Kiri?
It's probably the rain. I think it's raining pretty hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I thought Kiri was operating a dry cycle.
Do that gain down.
It's raining real hard here at the moment, which is probably not helping the audio.
As good as my house flooded yet?
Could be. All right.
Next question. Don't change it, bro. It's nice and soothing.
All right. It's going to put everyone to sleep quicker than listen to us talk, Will, anyway, so it's all right. I had one in from As the Rain Just Gets Harder. Jordan Prochera from Australia. Most drunk you've seen someone get the night before a race and still pull a result. I feel like this would lead into some National Series stories, but I don't know. I couldn't really think of anything that I've seen. Red Dog got pretty steamed for a race in Methven one year. Remember that Red Dog?
Was that before the race? Yeah, that's right.
It was the night before.
I didn't do it.
We were at someone's house, and next thing Snowy's in a pair of jandals doing hot laps up and down the road on a CR125.
I think if anything like that is going to have happened, it's a Chris Cavara, like
Nathan Rennie.
Yeah. And like Gracia comes to mind as well. Like, I can see Gracia getting just shit canned the night before a race.
There's in Earth 1 and Cedric wins the it's like pre-Crankworks when it was the Whistler Joyride Festival, and he wins the downhill, and he talks about how he spent like $2,500 at the bar last night. We drank all the alcohol they had.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There's a story about Fluff in Canada, I think it was.
Glenn Sisterich, for those who don't know.
Was it at Worlds, maybe? And he did his qualifying run and then started getting on the piss, and discovered that he actually qualified for the next day. And his qualifier was maybe second or something like that. And then the next day he was too steamed and didn't even make the start line. I think that's how the story went. Something along those lines anyway.
Oh,
shit.
I think sadly those days of downhill are probably behind us.
Long
at least at like
gone.
an elite level.
Actually,
maybe drinking a beer between qualifying and final at National Champs on Fringe.
That I can believe.
He went off in the first corner in the final.
Yeah, makes sense. I did see, actually speaking of Kovarik and Rennie, it was about, I think it was the night before the first day of practice, and we were at the go-karts in Mont Saint Anne, and we were waiting to get out on track, and we're standing up on the balcony of the go-kart track watching, and they were both hammered drunk, like completely peeled. And I can't remember which one of them was, but they buried their go-kart into a wall of tyres, and like in a corner, the tyres all fell on the go-kart, and they were out there like trying to drag the go-kart out. The guy comes running out, and we're all like, oh, he's going to take him off. He just takes him over and puts him in a fresh go-kart, sends him out again.
That's sick.
That was pretty good. Luke Millington wanted to know the top 5 New Zealand downhill racetracks of all time. We probably don't have time to get through 5, but...
Can we do the 4 pillars?
Coronet.
The 4 pillars of New Zealand downhill tracks. I think that's a good move. So we've got Coronet. Jesus, cops are coming for someone.
Now KB's involved in something.
Was it you who was doing the prank calls on the schools?
I could see the lights flashing through onto your face just then. They're coming for you.
At the door.
Yeah.
Coronet, Rotorua, Kaka, and
Fringe.
give me one more. Kaka and Fringe. Are you claiming 2 pillars?
No. Fringe isn't a pillar. Fringe isn't a pillar. Original Fringe is a pillar. This Fringe not a pillar.
Yeah. No. The original Fringe DH that ended in about 2007.
Can I challenge that with a Signal? Signal
Hill.
Yeah,
Signal Hill, I think, has got a... I mean, there's multiple tracks, but that is a strong hill. Maybe it needs to be hills.
That OG.
Can I challenge that with Bluff? Because...
No, you can't. Please leave this call.
Got an air trick?
No.
Please leave this call.
Look, that's with the lawyers, okay? Still with the lawyers.
That stop sign was in the worst place I've ever seen a stop sign placed in my life.
Oh, so far back. What's it doing?
Also, don't drive from Nelson to Invercargill in one day.
What are you doing? We could also throw 4 pillars of really shit New Zealand downhill tracks that we've raced.
There's lots. There's definitely more than 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite a few. But I reckon Signal Hill has got to be there for sure. Coronet has stood the test of time. I mean, that track basically hasn't changed since about 2005.
Where would you put?
I'm going to go.
Christchurch.
It's not that good.
No.
I'm going to go Kaka Hill, and I'm going to go Rotorua.
The
original downhill track in Rotorua.
Yeah. Out straight.
Not Dome Valley.
Or Levin? No.
Levin wasn't long lived enough.
No. The secondary
for a while, but no, it's definitely not up to it.
Developed a lot of talent out of there, though, still, somehow.
If you're looking for a track that developed the most talent, it's probably Wanganui.
Yeah. Lismore Forest represent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Carson Rayner wanted to bring back Team Power rankings. We've done that. What happened to the Danger Bus? I don't know where the Danger Bus had to have ended up at some
RIP,
somewhere.
it's got to be dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely.
That never came back across on the ferry, eh? Like, that just stayed in the South Island.
Last one. Predictions on who is going to win the overall downhill titles next year, male and female.
Look.
Not Bernie. Emery. I reckon Emery.
Yeah, I think Emery got a taste this year.
I think you'd be right. I'm with you.
Female.
I think Lark will be second. Maybe they'll battle it out. Female, I think Valley will get it again.
It's hard to bet against Valley at the moment.
It sort of seems like unless Valley has an injury, you struggle to bet against her.
Mm.
Valley's the only thing getting in Valley's way.
I think Eris will give her a run.
No,
yeah.
I think she might be a year off, maybe. I was going to say Eris, but...
Give her a couple of years, and I think so. When Valley's just that slight bit older, and Eris is that little bit more experienced. Not next year, but I think she'll be right there next year still.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
True.
So you reckon not Bruni?
No.
Fools.
We'll look back on this episode in a year and we'll see.
Aaron Gwynn.
Less than a year.
AJ,
actually, would you finally
hold on
pay me the beers?
Hold on.
Jackson Goldstone. Yeah, I kind of forgot about Jackson.
Surely.
Yeah, I'm going back to Jackson. I forgot about him.
He's had a year off. His appendix has been removed and buried.
I'm not.
Do you think that? Do they eat their appendixes in Canada?
Do they eat
appendixes? They probably did that in British Columbia.
Yeah, look, but I know.
But his family did. But his parents ate his placenta.
I'm sticking with Emery.
Appendix.
I'm sticking with Emery.
No, yeah, I stick with Emery. I don't think Goldstone will get the overall. I don't think he will. I think he'll win some.
Steve Pete ate Goldstone's appendix.
Did he cook it or eat it raw?
On toast.
That's good.
Right. I feel like that's signaled the end of the episode.
Stick a fork in it.
We've run out of good questions. Actually, no, final one. What part of your body, from Jake Boyle, what part of your body hurts the most after a big ride? We're not so young anymore.
That's the best question.
Probably my anus. I think that hurts the most.
After a big ride or a big trip for the surgery, KB?
Both. Might be feeling better now after that surgical trip.
Man.
My pride.
My right
pride.
Yeah, my pride.
I'm the same, Lester. My right knee.
My right knee.
Man, you guys are old. Actually,
legit. I am. It's true.
It's good.
Do we want to talk about the team rumours for 2025 quickly before we go out?
Yes.
Now, I figured the best way to do this was by using this incredible spreadsheet that came off the Vital Forum. So this is all just reading off a list of teams from the Vital Forum and what they have figured as the rumours of what's happening based off the teams and where they're at. Loris to Commensale, I think that seems like it's a done deal. It's going to be interesting to see. Like, that bike is obviously going to be good, and I'm sure it'll work well for him, but it's going to be interesting balancing out a team of that much firepower.
I feel like Loris is going to struggle to be in the shadow of another guy like Emery.
I feel like that was his problem at Syndicate. Like, he was always kind of battling with Menard.
He's always been
number two.
He's always been the younger brother guy.
Although not on true.
Is he banking on Emery going back to Checkers or Wreckers scenario, and he'll just be Mr. Consistent?
Marine Cabarrou joining the Canyon Collective factory team. So,
oh really?
I
didn't hear that. Interesting.
They've given that a 2 on the confidence rating, which is a what's the 2? I'm trying to find it in here. Probably based upon rumours.
They could have just written probably rather than giving it a number system.
Yeah.
I've got a request for the listeners, specifically Matt from Stats, whose spreadsheet we weren't able to open, so we'll reference that next time. But Matt from Stats, you know who you are. Can you give us a steer on the rider headcount movements and the big brand teams between the different disciplines? Most of the big teams have just gutted their enduro teams to pump their downhill teams. Like to see that movement. Where's the money being spent?
You want to see the money?
You got a week.
You want the money movements? No, we're not back in a week. It's Christmas.
Okay. Yeah, still.
I'll be drunk. Andy Kolb to the YT mob. That's got a probably on it. So, yeah, that is an interesting one.
That's an interesting one.
Specialized gravity.
That's proven.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with that move for him. Specialized gravity appears to be staying the same. Actually, this is one of the biggest ones. Benoit Coulanges, Benoit from Accounts, rumored to be going to Scott, and according to the spreadsheet, that's where they've put him. But there hasn't been any real
capacity as financial controller.
I guess he could just choose where he wants to go. He just
he
makes the money move.
Is he going into HQ admin stuff?
Yeah.
I heard something different for him. I thought I'd read something else.
What did you read?
I'd read
That's
Giant.
Team Rumours, go wild. Well, I'd heard that, but then I heard Giant's done and he's not there.
Okay.
So, yeah. But he had been testing a Giant, apparently. He'd been and done a test.
Really? Okay.
So, yeah.
Was it the twins? What are they?
Yeah, we're getting there. The Jewetts. They're not twins. They're just brothers.
I think it's different twins.
Mondraker, Ronan and Dakota and Pinky, it looks like. Same. Trek Factory Racing, I think, is these rumours have got Lockie, which I think we're all pretty confident that's where Lockie's going. I think he deserves that spot. Sasha Ennis is still there. But then they've got Ollie Davis and, as we broke on the last episode, Matt Walker, UK Matt Walker on the team. So
that's a great team.
I think that'll be if that's how that team pans out, that'll be real solid. Like, you've got the kind of solid vet with Matt Walker in there, and then a group of young kind of developing riders.
That's why McKinsey makes the big money, because they just go in and they just clear house and they just get fresh blood.
Next on the list, Continental, Atherton. Wow, Luke Wayman's on there. So we mentioned earlier, junior rider from New Zealand. They've got him on the list, so it sounds like he's going there. Charlie Hatton, it appears, is still staying. The next in the line, Syndicate, Nina, Laurie, Jackson, with the addition on the rumours page of Ali Huzabosh and Felix Griffiths. So I'd heard the Ali rumour, and I think if that pans out, that's awesome. It's pretty.
I think if you've been looking on Vital recently, that's not a rumour. She's at the team.
So that's interesting. Right, they didn't retain Ollie Davis, right?
No, he's gone to Trek according to this.
Yeah. That's interesting that they didn't retain him though for next year, because he
I'm a bit surprised by that.
Not a bad sort of fill-in season, really.
Yeah.
Dollars.
Don't know. Maybe it was. I mean, he was a fill-in for Jackson, so maybe it was kind of just the way the cards were falling with the two juniors coming in. But they've also got on this under Syndicate Petey with 6 beers and on an e-bike. So that'd be a strong move.
Only 6.
It's
only got 6.
Yeah. Commensal, Lazors, I don't know. Pivot, Bernard, I don't know. There's looks to be a lot of wild rumours thrown in here with not really much. Don't know what's going on with there. Orbea, FMD moving to Orbea is a good one. And
it's going to be interesting.
Who's it good for?
I think it's cool to have another manufacturer coming into downhill racing. They haven't had a downhill bike.
What do you reckon they're doing for a bike?
Well, they must have something new.
With the motors out or what?
That's what I mean, though. Like, that's a big call going on to a bike that doesn't currently exist.
See, I don't think it is. I think those times have changed. I think people are smart enough.
Chassis's taken place.
I think Orbea make good enough bikes already. They get good reviews. I think that risk's kind of gone. I think people are smart enough now.
Be interested to know what Martin Mays is going to do, because he must have been on like a development engineer type deal, right? Like he was riding an e-bike without a battery and a drive unit in it to help them build a downhill bike, presumably. I wonder if they'll keep him on as a development rider. That's another question, actually. What's the future of test riders and test development riders? I think that's something we're going to see more of. Yeah, Red Dog, you'd be a real good development rider.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
No, I don't reckon I would be. Cam Cole would be. He'd be a real main test rider.
He would be a good one. Jewett Brothers to Giant. That sounds like it's done. So
I thought Giant was done.
Yeah. Then I don't know. I heard the Jewett Brothers were going there, so
MX Sports.
They just spent 15 years developing a new downhill bike. Like, they can't be done.
They should just bring back the old glory. Bold new graphics. Where else? So we got Norco. Danny Hart apparently is locked in at Norco.
I heard rumours, but
along with half the field, because there's lots of Norco people, isn't there?
I think there is apparently like 6 riders or something, or 7 riders.
That'd be interesting to see if Danny's like on his kind of privateer program still, or if he's going factory team.
Nah, surely he'd be going to the factory team.
You'd think so, but it'd be quite a change for him to go back into that setup, wouldn't it? After a few years of driving the camper van around.
One thing I think we're going to see next year is a team that's got like a frame supplier that is like a big budget team, but they're not a factory backed big budget team. So they've got a frame supplier that's maybe a little more obscure, and it's just full chassis spec. So they've bought in.
They just buy what they want.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah,
hang on.
Deal for something.
Hang on. Is someone at the skids?
I think this is Chris's house again.
Yeah. I'm at the Skyline Screamer.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of there's a lot of people that are, God knows what they're going to be doing. A lot of teams that aren't going to be making it in. So it's going to be real interesting to see what comes out of all this. I think we've got through all the interesting ones.
Another stats request for Matt from Stats. Once the season gets underway, tell us, what is the most well-represented brand? I want to know these teams that last year had like 10 different teams using their frames, Canyon and Common Sail.
So basically like
continue to see that.
Basically Common Sail for like the last 4 years.
Yeah. But they've rationalised one of those teams, haven't they?
Yeah, I think so. And then Canyon had as well. All of them, except for the factory team. So it's all to play for. All right. We've run out of content, and Chris has clearly got to get in the skyline and head to the skids. So we better call it a year. I think we'll put a bow on 2024. Thanks for listening. Congratulations for making it this far through this whole journey with us. Not even just this episode. Thanks for making it this far. Hopefully we'll see you back in 2024. But for now,
2020.
We'll see you next